So in this video, we're going to go through step by step on how to light this casino table and render it inside Maya. Okay, so before we start the exercise, first you must download the project file, which is on the blackboard. Now, I already downloaded this project file. Okay, it should label as casino_table.zip. And if you look at this zip file, it will contain this structure for the project. Okay, so go ahead and extract it. In this case, I extract to my desktop, so I get this project folder. Okay, now because this is a project folder, okay, there are certain way to open up the project folder inside Maya. Okay, if you done this incorrectly, the texture will not load and everything will be just black. Okay, so you must follow the procedure on how to open up the project folder correctly. Okay, so I'm going to show you now. So let's minimize this and this. So first you must click the file and then set project. Okay, so what it means that you tell Maya to look at that folder structure and nothing else. Okay, so by clicking this and click set, okay, you're telling Maya to just work on this project, okay, and nothing else will be looked at. So that way, like, all the texture will be linked properly inside this project. Okay, so click set, right, and then you go to file, open, and this is your actual Maya file. Okay, now when you are dealing with lighting, okay, don't save this. Most of the time, the modeling and the texture it's already given to you. So that way, just focus on creating the light and make it nice and just render. Okay, so in this case, the object have texture ready, and if it's not showing, you can press 6 in your keyboard. Okay, so this is 5 and this is 6. Okay, except for this dice. Okay, this dice does not have material or shader or texture because we're gonna do some kind of fun experiment with the shader. Okay, but the rest have color or texture. Now, when you try to render the scene using this button, so this is the button to render. Okay, everything will be just black. Okay, that's because we haven't added light into the scene. Okay, that's why, like, when there is no light, everything's black. Okay, so go ahead and add some light. So you can go to this menu and then light and create area light. Okay, so I'm gonna make this higher and bigger now using this button. Okay, now you notice that there is this pointy line coming up from the area light. Okay, so that tells you like the direction in which this light is emitting energy or light. Okay, so if you want, you can also rotate this and push this a little bit downward, so that way, like, the light will emit energy from top all the way to the table. Okay, make this bigger. Okay, and just adjust it to be something like that. Okay, and again, when you try to render, everything will be black. Okay, that's because there is no value in the exposure. Okay, so when there is no value in exposure, the light does not emit any light at all. Okay, so I'm going to press Ctrl A. Okay, or you can select the attribute editor, and then you select the area light. Now, this is the reason why your scene is black. Okay, so let's put some value. I want to put value of 5, and let's try to render again. Okay, it seems like it's doing its thing, right? So it's eliminating some kind of energy, but overall the scene is still a little bit too dark. Okay, so we have to increase a higher value, so maybe put 10, and we try to render. Right, so this is not a bad start, I would say. Okay, so again, when it comes to lighting, usually when you try to put one light, it may not be enough. Okay, so you have to create like another light, okay, to illuminate the entire scene. So maybe before we do that, we try to crank up this exposure value a little bit. Maybe I'm putting 12, and I'm gonna render. Okay, and it's looking pretty good. Okay, so I'm gonna leave the light there as it is. Now, again, if you look at the scene, you can click here. Alright, it's not too bad, but in overall, it still looks a little bit dark. Okay, so I'm gonna save this in the memory, right, in which you can like go back and compare. And I'm gonna add one more light here. Okay, the same area light. Okay, make it bigger. Make sure the area is pointing to the correct direction. Okay, pointing to the table. Put on an angle, right? Okay, and I want to put a value of 8 maybe, and we're just gonna test. Okay, so when it comes to lighting, there's a lot of iteration of putting light, render, and compare, putting light, render, and compare. Okay, so this is the typical iteration or life cycle of lighting. Okay, so I'm going to compare this, and so the angle seems a bit different. Okay, so let's hide this one first. Okay, and I want to save this into the memory. Okay, so this is with the light on, and I want to render with the light off. So I want to see the difference. Okay, it seems like the light doesn't do much. Okay, it's only make that area a little bit brighter. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to show this light again, and maybe make this one a little bit bigger, right? And compare and see the result. Okay, you can save this one in the memory and render again. Okay, it doesn't do much, so maybe this time I have to crank up the exposure again to a value of 10. Okay, let's render and see. Okay, it seems like there is a nice highlight, okay, around this area. So if I compare to 4 and after, okay, the one with the light on seems to create a better illumination. So maybe I'm going to crank up to value of 12 and see what happens. Right, this is after, right, before. So maybe I need to rotate the light slightly a little bit so it can illuminate like this entire coin better. So I'm pushing it to be like this. Okay, and render. Save, and then compare with the light off and see. Okay, so definitely better. So this portion, it's not too dark anymore. Okay, so I can see, yep, there is a highlight there.